Hey everyone, and welcome back to Backstage. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about one of the most popular up-and-coming coffee brands out there, Dutch Bros. So let's take it all the way back to the early 1990s in Grants Pass, Oregon, which was a small logging town nestled in the Rogue Valley. So this place wasn't known for creating any popular trends. It wasn't a coffee capital like Seattle or San Francisco, but it was home to Dane and Travis Bozerma, who were two brothers raised in a tight-knit Dutch-American family with strong values, which were hard work, faith, loyalty, and service. So at the time, the Bozerma family had been in the dairy farming business for about 3 generations, and farming wasn't just a job for them, it was really their identity. So by the early 90s, the dairy industry was actually crumbling under pressure because of rising costs, shrinking margins, and new environmental regulations that were squeezing out small family farms. So a brutal truth, which was the world that they knew, which was dairy farming, was ending. So they actually sold their cows for the first time, and the two brothers felt like they were without a livelihood, but they weren't without a purpose. So Dane, who was the older brother, was kind of like the visionary side. He was in his 40s and he was known for his warm presence, kindness, and ability to connect with other people. And Travis was younger by actually 15 years, and he was more of the energetic dreamer side. He was restless, creative, and he really liked to take risks. So one afternoon, they were actually hanging out in downtown Grants Pass when Dane had a simple idea: what if we sold coffee? And it sounds really basic now, but at that time, the drive-through concept that we know today wasn't super popular, it wasn't really mainstream. And actually, Starbucks had just gone public in 1992 at this time, but there were no real drive-through espresso brands in their area. So Oregon actually did have a lot of coffee drinkers, but not fast and friendly service. So the two brothers decided to try something completely unproven and new, which was a pushcart with a La Marzocca espresso machine, and which was built for their savings and parked near the local railroad tracks where they lived. And they called it Dutch Bros, which was a nod to their Dutch heritage. But this wasn't just your typical average coffee cart. From the beginning, it was built with high energy, very good attitude, and lots of heart. They blasted upbeat music, they gave customers free drinks, they remembered the customers' names, their dogs' names, their favorite drinks. They really wanted to have a genuine connection with their customers. And they didn't just make coffee, they made friends, and that was intentional. And their main philosophy was that we're not in the coffee business, we're in the relationship business. They really wanted those strong, true, genuine ties with their customers. And it wasn't corporate like many other businesses at that time. It was fun, human, and joyful. From day one, Dutch Bros was different, and customers felt it. Word of mouth exploded. One cart turned into 2, then into 3, and by 1994, they had opened their first permanent drive-through stand, and this was when the real momentum started and business really started to push up. They actually chose a drive-through only model, which lowered their costs, sped up service, and allowed them to move more fast. And even today at Dutch Bros stores, there are no actual Dutch Bros. You can't really walk into a Dutch Bros. They are mainly running through their drive-through. So Dutch Bros, they were serving blue-collar workers, moms on the go, high school students, and commuters, and overall people who wanted just great coffee without having the hassle of getting out of their car. But here's the key to Dutch Bros. It was never just about convenience, it was about positivity. So Dutch Bros became known for the over-the-top friendliness, loud music and high fives at their windows, drinks with wild names like Kicker and Annihilator, and they would also just give away drinks just for fun. And something unique about Dutch Bros was that the employees were called broistas, which is a hybrid of the word barista and the word bro to seem more relatable and friendly, but not really in the frat boy sense. It was bro, they wanted to make it seem like a family type of word. So the whole culture revolved around making customers feel seen and loved and being a part of something bigger, not just going to a store and getting coffee. They really wanted to connect with their customers. So as the brand slowly began to get popular in Oregon, other towns wanted in the Dutch Bros world. People started asking, can I open up a Dutch Bros in my city? People wanted to were asking Dutch Bros for franchise, but the brothers weren't interested in fast franchising. They set a really high bar. You couldn't just buy a Dutch Bros, you really had to work for it. So they created an internal pipeline where employees had to work a stand for at least 3 years before they could even apply to franchise. And even then, they were only considered if they really embodied the culture and the values that Dutch Bros wanted to show at that time. So this allowed Dutch Bros to expand without dilution. They weren't just growing a business, they wanted to grow a family with their customers, one stand at a time. And by 2007, they actually had over 150 locations across the Pacific Northwest. But in 2009, everything for Dutch Bros completely changed. So that year, the co-founder, Dane Boersema, was diagnosed with ALS, which was a fatal neurodegenerative disease, also known as Lou Gehrig's disease. And within months, he passed away at just 55 years old. And his death really sent shockwaves through the Dutch Bros community. He wasn't just a businessman who started the idea of Dutch Bros, he really was the heart of the brand. And rather than actually slow down, his brother made the vow that we are going to make this business bigger than ever in Dane's honor. And Dutch Bros really did push this idea because they created a drink called Drink One for Dane, which was a nationwide fundraiser that raised millions of dollars for ALS research. And Travis took over as CEO, leading with even more fire and more faithfulness to the culture that his brother really built. And under his leadership, Dutch Bros entered a completely new era of growth, which was fueled by love, energy, and legacy. So now that we know the background of Dutch Bros, let's talk about the business strategies that they used to expand and become popular. So Dutch Bros didn't become a 950 plus location powerhouse just by handing out free smiles and free coffee. Behind all that positivity is really smart execution, tight culture, and some very specific business moves. So one of their most important business moves is a franchise to company-owned shift. So in the early years, Dutch Bros expanded through franchising, but with extremely tight control. Only internal hires could franchise, no outside money, no investors, no random people, only people within the Dutch Bros community. And by 2017, Travis realized that if Dutch Bros were to go nationwide, they really needed more consistency and quality control. So they decided to make a very bold move, and they stopped franchising and only were opening company-owned stores. And this ensured that they had full control over hiring, operations, training, and brand presentation. No diluted culture, no bad eggs, no one who was in for the money. The shift was very expensive, but it was essential for the company. Dutch Bros also really focuses on culture. So every Dutch Bros employee, as I mentioned, is called a broista. They go through intensive training and not just customer service training. They're taught to hype up customers, learn names, remember birthdays, and treat every customer interaction like it matters. And managers actually go through DBU, Dutch Bros University, where they're immersed in leadership, mentorship, and culture preservation. This isn't optional, it is mission critical and very important to Dutch Bros brand and the brand they're trying to continue. So they even have internal culture audits where regional leaders check in to make sure every stand, every store feels like it's up to par with the Dutch Bros quality. There's also no interior seating, which means faster growth for the brand. Dutch Bros only operates drive-through, so they have no cafes, no seating, no square footage, their own ambiance, and it's because of speed. So each Dutch Bros location is small, efficient, optimized for high volumes, low wait times, and minimal labor overhead. And I actually, last week, a Dutch Bros opened up near my house, and I went, and I think I got my coffee in under 5 minutes, and it was very, very packed. It was so many people were in the drive-thru, but I think I got my coffee in literally less than 5 minutes. And because of this model actually allows Dutch Bros to enter new markets with low capital costs and a high return on their investment. So unlike traditional coffee shops, Dutch Bros doesn't just sell espresso or drip coffee. Their menu is really built around different flavors and different customizations. So you have drinks like the Annihilator, the Caramelizer, or the Shark Attack Rebel, which it's more of like a sugar rush and like a refined coffee experience. So essentially they have different drinks for different people. Their menu is also really Gen Z friendly. So they actually have a massive secret menu that you can see on their app, and it makes Dutch Bros kind of feel like a club, that you're kind of in this like exclusive secret menu club, not really like a chain, maybe like Starbucks. So Dutch Bros went public in 2021 in September on the New York Stock Exchange, and they raised over $484 million in their IPO, and their stock surged over 60% on their very first day. But here's the kicker, Dutch Bros didn't sell out. Travis and key insiders retained voting control. They ensured that the brand could scale without compromising the Dutch Bros culture. So they immediately put that capital into accelerating their expansion into new states like Texas, Oklahoma, and Tennessee. And their goal was to have over 4,000 stores in the next decade. Dutch Bros also launched the Dutch Pass app, which was a mobile ordering and reward system that let the customers use points, customize their drinks, and even send free drinks to their friends. But unlike other brands, the tech experience is fun, it's not clinical. So the app has Gen Z aesthetics, it's really aesthetic to look at, playful language, and a loyalty model that was built to drive daily engagement, not just purchases. Dutch Bros also participates in community-first marketing. So instead of Super Bowl ads, Dutch Bros invents in local impact like back-to-school drives, fundraisers for ALS in honor of Dane, and then random acts of kindness days. So randomly, they would just give customers free drinks. And they also have the Dutch Love Day, which supports local nonprofits. So their community roots aren't just feel good; it's a competitive advantage for them. So every store opens with a local first approach and building trust within the customers and among the customers before asking for dollars and customers to come and buy from Dutch Bros. So Dutch Bros didn't grow into this massive coffee empire by mimicking Starbucks or Dunkin'. They were different, they're unique. So from a dairy farm to a billion-dollar empire, the Bozermo brothers built something way bigger than just coffee. They built a movement powered by connection, consistency, and community. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Brand Backstage, and let me know in the comments what brand you want me to cover next.